Welcome to the fall. Usually, this is my favorite time of the year. Today, it's a bit wet. It doesn't matter. Packed my bag, setting up my tarp, campfire coffee, and introducing a new idea I want to try out, but more on that later. If you're wondering why I'm silent, it's because I always do these intros just 2 minutes after I park my car, and I always like coming outside, but let's go. So, trial and error. New camping spot, new tarp setup, new kind of forest material. The stick that I mounted the tripod with is solid oak, so it was heavy, so it knocked itself over. But it's going nowhere now. I dug it a little bit in, just twitching it a bit, strung it up hard with bank line. I pegged it out with 2 tent pegs and a large tent peg in the back. Made a new tent peg for the front. I cut up a large wet piece of oak, I think, very punky and very rotten. Formed a triangle around my fire. I cut up some dry oak for firewood. Sat down and had a beer. I had to lose my shirt underneath my jacket because the shirt in itself was too cold. The shirt and the jacket was too warm. So wool t-shirt and my fjällräven, Canada wool padded jacket. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. And I spoke to a young man yesterday in a Canada shirt with a small beanie and some very skinny trousers. He was something called a hipster. I don't know completely what that is, but I told him that I used my Fjällräven garments for other stuff, and he looked at me. He said, "What do you do?" I told him I took down trees in the forest and made campfire using an axe, and he was like, "Dude, what?" So you can use these kind of clothes for either fashion, I can tell you, or for the real deal. But today's video, I told you, not a full camping video. I do this all the time and I end up shooting a full camping video instead. But I wrote on my Instagram channel yesterday that I wanted to start a series called Meet My Makers, and I have a few, so I think I will do 5, maybe 6 of these. If you're interested, pick something out that I can stand by, that I know, that I use, and that I enjoy. So today it's about knives. I have to show you. This is the bushcrafter, the number 1. This feels incredible in the hands. It's made by a young guy called, in Danish, he's Mikkel Hvedegaard, in English, and his company brand is called Hvedegaard Knives. And Mikkel makes knives. I didn't know Mikkel 1.5 years ago, but a colleague of mine showed me at a gym session a picture of a knife, and he said, made by a Danish guy, and I was like, what? I have previously been talking to a guy in the UK called Ben Offord regarding a knife, and Ben is a world-renowned knife maker. So I looked at Mikkel's work. He had a very distinctive model called a JGT or a JTG, and correct me if I can't remember this, but it's a smaller knife than a bushcraft knife. It has a very, very beautiful polished convex grind, if I remember correctly. A variety of handle materials, full tank construction, RWL 34 knife steel, very, very sturdy, reliable steel. So I got in contact with Mikkel and I told him, I'm doing this and I'm doing this. And I was wondering what it would take for you to push past some of your familiar models and make something that I can use in the woods. Still full tank construction with a natural handle material. I don't remember what this, I think it's walnut, but Mikkel does knife work that is just superb. So Mikkel was not, I'm not even sure if he was 20 years at age when I first spoke with him, but he is almost turning 21 now, and Mikkel and I and Mikkel, I'm not going to take less than 5% of credit for this, because the idea and the small push came from me. The rest is pure craftsmanship, pure skill. Full tank construction, walnut scales, brass pins, carbon fiber inlay, and red, I think they are micarta liners, and this is perfect, down to the detail. If I look, I can't spot a millimeter of difference anywhere. Polished, and we have a Danish chef, don't remember his name, but he's doing commercials for very, very sharp knives. And if I hold my thumb and Mikkel's knife and do like this, it just grabs the thumb instantly. There's no sliding, no slippery. I'm not holding the knife. It just grabs a hold of the thumb. So very, very sharp, very, very sturdy, full tank construction, batoning capable, bushcrafter, volume 1. So, some time passed, and I got an idea. I wrote Mikkel. He had a fairly large amount of bushcraft knives in order, and I told Mikkel, what would happen if we switched it up a bit? What would happen if we changed the handle geometry, put on some African blackwood that I have purchased? What would happen if we made the knife length, the blade length, a bit longer and a bit more narrow? And what would happen if we did this and that? And Mikkel said, okay. And this happened. Need to be able for you to focus. Just fiddling with my stupid camera, but this happened. African blackwood, different handle geometry, different blade configuration, bit longer, bit more narrow, fits my hand like I would even think that Mikkel has the same size hands as me, but he probably doesn't. But African blackwood handle, guys. I don't know if you can see this on video. It's very dark forest, so I hope it works. But African blackwood. It's the most smooth handle material I have ever had in my hands. And full tank construction, blue micarta liners or carbon micarta liners. But this is just a piece of perfect geometry. And Mikkel does kydex sheaths. They work very well. No rattle, no falling out. Work very well. He also supplied micarta, lots of plastic material, boys and girls. He also supplied a kydex sheath for this. But I had another good friend of mine called Jimmy hooked me up with a knife sheath. Not gonna show you until next time. But 2 knives from a very young, very talented, very potential, very promising young man. Mikkel Hvedegaard, Hvedegaard Knives, Denmark. And I told you in the Instagram post that this is not a bragging video because I have a lot of knives. Anyone who chooses to do this can buy a Mora knife and do whatever I do. A Mora Garberg can do whatever this can do. You can argue a lot that the looks, the feel, the handle will change when you go from a high-end bushcraft knife as a Mora Garberg into this. You can argue. And like I told you, not a bragging video, because there's no point. The point is that Mikkel is a friend, trusted friend. We talk at least once a week, I think, and helping a young creative man into getting to his full potential would be my absolute pleasure. So Mikkel, thanks buddy. And if you're still up for it at some point, maybe we won't make it this year, but I promise in next year. Sorry, I got hit by hot wood. No. Where was I? Next year I'm taking you camping. I will bring the food, I will bring the coffee. If you're into this, first beer, it's on me. So thanks buddy. So, meet my makers. Bit of camping, bit of chilling in front of the fire. Actually, that was the whole point today. Chilling in front of the fire, having a cold one. Ending the video here, guys. My battery lights are flashing at me, so it's telling me to stop. Stop being a YouTuber and get back to the fire. See you in the next one, boys and girls.